Hi everyone, welcome to this bed yoga practice. We can start in a comfortable position, so anything which feels good for you. You could lie on your back with your legs extended. You could bring feet flat on the floor, knees up towards the ceiling. You could take the feet wide and let the knees drop in so your inner thighs are resting against each other, supporting each other. You're also very welcome to lie on your side or on your stomach to start with. And we can start by maybe having a quick scan of the body. So starting with the head, allowing the head to feel supported by the pillow beneath you. Scanning through the shoulders, the arms and the hands, the upper back, the mid back, the lower back, allowing the lower back to release down into the bed, letting go of any tension you might be holding through the hips, and allowing your legs to feel comfortable and supported in whichever position you've chosen today. And there's a couple of options for this practice. We can either bring the attention onto the parts of our body which are connected with the bed, that sense of grounding, that sense of being supported. Or we can maybe bring our attention onto our breath, following the breath as it moves into the body, and following the breath as it leaves the body. So whichever of these you choose, allowing your attention to gently rest there. And if the mind wanders, that's absolutely okay. We can gently bring the attention back, either to the breath or to that sense of feeling grounded in the bed beneath us. Gently bringing the attention back to the space. Maybe taking a couple of slightly deeper breaths. We can start to move through some gentle mobility work. So starting with the hands, we can make fists and then spread the fingers wide, really stretching through the fingers. So making fists and then spreading the fingers wide. Maybe you find that this naturally links up with your breath. Maybe a full breath for each movement, or maybe a couple of breaths. Really allowing this to feel natural for your body. So not trying to force anything. We can then start to take some circles with the wrists, maybe going in one direction, and then maybe moving in the other direction. We can then start to extend the arms and bend the elbows, bringing hands maybe to shoulders. So starting to warm up through the elbows a little bit here. You're welcome to stay with this. Or if you want to take this a little bit further, when the hands reach the shoulders, we could then lift the elbows towards the ceiling. So kind of in an upwards motion. So we're starting to work into the shoulders a little bit here. So we're extending the arms and bending the elbows, bringing hands to shoulders, and maybe lifting elbows towards the ceiling. Releasing the hands back down to the bed or to rest somewhere on the body. We can then start to maybe turn the head so we're dropping the right ear down towards the pillow. So having a little bit of a stretch through the left side of the neck. Taking a couple of breaths here. On an inhale, we can then come back to center. And as we exhale, start to drop the left ear down towards the pillow. Having a stretch through the right side of the neck. And as we inhale, coming back up to center. Give the hands a little bit of a shake, have a little bit of a wriggle. And then we can start to warm up the legs a little bit. So we'll start by lifting the right foot gently and pointing and flexing the toe. So pointing the toes away and then flexing the foot back. We could do this with our heel on the ground if we wanted. We can then start to take some circles with the ankle, maybe in one direction, and maybe back in the other direction. We can then start to bend into the knee a little bit. We don't have to fully straighten the leg. We're taking the knee in a movement which feels good for us today. Gently warming up the knee. We can then start to ease into the hip a little bit. So taking the knee in a circle, but seeing if we can really focus the movement as though it's starting from the hip. So we're taking the thigh in a circle, maybe going in one direction, and then maybe switching and going into the other direction. We can then release that foot down to the ground, have a little sort of twist from side to side, easing out through the back. And we can come and find those movements with the left leg. So lifting the left foot, we can start pointing and flexing the toes. Again, if it's better for your leg to keep this on the floor, then you can. So pointing the foot and flexing the foot. We can start to take some circles with the foot. Maybe taking a few in one direction and then a few in the other direction. And we can start to bend into the knee and find some length in the leg. Again, the leg doesn't have to be straight. We're finding any movement in the knee which feels good. We can start to then take the hips in some circles. So we're drawing the knee and thigh around in a circle, but we're trying to really focus on the movement in the hip. So maybe taking a few in one direction and a few in the other direction. And we can bring that left foot to rest on the ground. Maybe rock the knees from side to side so we're easing out through the hips a little bit before coming back to center. We're going to come to find our half happy baby. So lying on the back, we can start with both feet flat on the floor, knees up towards the ceiling. We can then start to draw the right knee in towards the chest. We could maybe hold the knee around the back of the thigh or around the shin. Taking a couple of breaths here. Now we can either keep the left foot flat on the floor or we could extend the leg along the bed if that feels good. So really choose what's best for your body here. We can take a couple of breaths here and then start to maybe draw the leg out to the side slightly and draw the knee in as though we're moving towards the armpit. So we're coming on the outside of the rib cage. So we're also opening into the hip here slightly. Taking a couple of breaths here. We can then release the knee a little bit and draw it back in towards the center of the chest. Maybe hugging it in that little bit closer before releasing the leg down to the bed, maybe bringing both feet flat on the bed, knees up towards the ceiling again. Maybe have a little windscreen wipe of the legs from side to side. And we can then come to find this on the other side. So starting to draw the left knee in towards the chest. Again, the right foot can stay on the bed with the knee lifted, or you could extend that leg along the bed if that feels nice. Taking a couple of breaths here. We can then start to take that left leg out to the side and drawing it in on the outside of the ribs. So the knees going a little bit more towards the underarm. So we're opening into the hip here slightly. Release the knee a little bit and then draw it back in towards the center, maybe hugging it that little bit closer. And then exhale, take both feet onto the bed, knees up towards the ceiling. You're welcome to stay here, or we could start to lift both knees in towards the chest. Maybe have a little rock from side to side here. We can then release both feet back down. We'll take the feet a little bit wider here and then let the knees drop in. So your inner thighs are supporting each other. And let's take a couple of breaths here. And gently lifting the knees back to center, walking the feet in slightly, coming back to our central point. We're going to come to find our eagle pose. So for this, we can lie on the back, feet flat on the floor, knees up towards the ceiling. We can gently draw the right foot maybe towards the center of the body, and then gently cross the left knee over the right. So we're coming to be cross-legged. So very gently squeezing the thighs together a little bit. And you're welcome to stay here, or we can start to add the arms. So we can maybe take the arms wide to start with. And we've got left leg over right, so we're going to do the opposite with our arms. So we can gently bring the arms in right over left and bring hands onto opposite elbows. So we could start to draw the elbows away from the body slightly. So they're going up towards the ceiling. And you're welcome to stay with this. Or we could start to extend the arms around so we're bringing hands onto opposite shoulders. So taking whichever option feels best for you today. And we'll be here for about 10 breaths. Gently release the arms, bringing them back to neutral. We can uncross the legs, bring the feet back, maybe to hip width apart. Have a little rock from side to side, through the hips and through the knees. And then we'll come to find this on the other side. So maybe walking that left foot in slightly towards the center of the body. We can then cross that right knee over the left leg. And you're welcome to stay here if this feels good for you, or we could add in the arms. So let's start by taking the arms wide. We've got right leg over left, so we're going to do the opposite with the arms. So we can gently bring the left arm on top of the right, bringing hands onto opposite elbows, elbows drawing up towards the ceiling. And you're welcome to stay with this, or we could reach the arms around, coming to our self-cuddle variation, so hands on shoulders. So choose whichever of those options feels good for you. And we'll be here for about 10 breaths. Gently release the arms, bringing them back to something which feels neutral for you, maybe onto the body or onto the bed. We can uncross the legs, bring the feet back so they're roughly hip width apart. Maybe have a little rock from side to side through the hips and the knees before coming back to center. We're going to come to find our butterfly pose. So for this, we can bring the soles of the feet together, lying on our back. Sorry. Bring the soles of the feet together and allow the knees to drop out to the sides. So to keep this more gentle, we can take the feet further away from the body, so creating a larger or longer diamond shape with the legs. Or to make this a little bit more intense, we can bring the feet closer to the body. Again, if it's more comfortable for your knees to have support, we could always use the duvet or some pillows or cushions to pad underneath the knees. And we can keep the hands either in a neutral position, so maybe resting on the body or coming down by our sides. Or if we want to add a little bit of something extra with the arms, we can take the arms out by our sides at shoulder height. So we're also opening out through the chest here a little bit. So palms maybe facing up towards the ceiling at shoulder height, arms outstretched. And we can be here for about 10 breaths. Gently bringing the arms back in to a neutral position. We can gently lift the knees back to center. Maybe take the feet a little bit wider and allow the knees to drop in so your inner thighs are resting against each other. Let's take a couple of breaths here to reset. Before coming back up to center with the knees, we're ready now to come to find our final rest posture. You're welcome to choose anything which feels comfortable for you. If you're ready to drift off to sleep, you can choose your favorite sleeping position. You could lie on your back, legs extended. You could lie on your side. You could lie on your stomach. Make sure that whatever you choose is comfortable. Make sure that your clothes feel comfortable. The temperature is comfortable. Make sure that your whole body feels supported here. We can start to close down the eyes, releasing the body onto the bed, allowing your feet to feel heavy here, letting go of any tension that you might be holding in the ankles, allowing the calves and the knees to feel heavy, letting go of any tension you might be holding through your thighs, your hips, releasing down through the lower back, the mid back, the upper back, letting go of any tension that you might be holding through your shoulders, your neck, your jaw, your cheekbones, your eyebrows, releasing your head into the pillow, even allowing your hair to relax. And that concludes our bed practice today. Thank you so much for joining me.